The Ford Maverick was a true revolution for the American buyer, as it offered fantastic levels of practicality, solid levels of comfort and features, and above all else, an unbelievably low price tag. However, as good as it was, the Maverick wasn't without its faults, the most prominent of which were reliability issues, poor quality control, as well as lackluster quality in general. Thankfully though, Ford had decided to address these glaring issues for the new model year, truly making the Ford Maverick the king of value that it deserves to be. Join us today as we explore the biggest reasons why the all-new 2025 Ford Maverick shocks the entire car industry. No more Maverick shortages and long waiting times. One of the most glaring issues of the Ford Maverick was its enormously long waiting times. Seriously, waiting 2 years for a sub-$30,000 truck should never happen. Yet, in the case of Ford, this almost became standard. And yes, we know, these waiting times were lowered by 2023. However, acquiring a new Maverick still wasn't quick enough. Thankfully, the 2025 Maverick will sort this issue completely, thanks to Ford's zealousness towards expanding the production of the truck. This includes opening new or converting old production plants to make Mavericks, which will significantly increase the Blue Oval's output of the said truck. This is extremely good news for Maverick buyers, as not only will the waiting list be slashed, but the price of the Maverick will also take a drop, as expanded production always brings in increased manufacturing and supply discounts. That said, some of you might consider an increase in production the last thing that Ford should have done, because the Maverick already suffered quite a lot of quality-related issues, and increasing production oftentimes amplifies such problems even more. Well, rest assured, as that will not happen with the new Maverick. Quite the contrary. Reliability and quality issues have finally been sorted out. What hindered the Maverick's reputation as a true people's car was its glaring power plant issues, especially with the 2.5 hybrid version. There were numerous cases of engine block or oil pan breaches, which could lead to fires, which is not something you want in a car with a bunch of batteries underneath it. Thankfully though, this issue has finally been sorted out, alongside a bunch of other, seemingly unrelated issues, and all have been done in one swoop. How, may you ask? Simple, by increasing quality control. You see, these mysterious engine issues were a product of nothing more than just manufacturing errors that had been made due to the production line being strained and haven't been checked properly. Thanks to the fact that the production of the Maverick has now been expanded to a multitude of other production plants, there will be much less pressure on workers when constructing the truck, allowing them to do a much better job in terms of quality control. This is also true for the Maverick's interior quality issues, such as early seat creasing, large panel gaps, and squeaky and loose plastics. Speaking of the interior quality has been massively improved. It's safe to say that the interior of the Maverick left quite a bitter taste in some buyers' mouths. Sure, the overabundance of scratchy and noisy plastics was understandable, as it kept costs low. However, it still left the car feeling cheaper than it was. And honestly, what ground our gears the most was the infotainment system, or to be precise, that huge cubbyhole on its right side. Well, with the 2025 model year, these issues will be sorted out, and the Maverick's interior will feel like a much more uplifting place to spend time in. First, some of the scratchy plastics, like the top of the dashboard, will be replaced with softer ones, making them much more pleasant to touch, and also lowering trim squeaks. You shouldn't expect an F-150 Lariat on the inside, but the car will be a mile away from the 90s Econobox feeling interior that it currently has. The seats will be improved too, now offering greater support and better padding to increase comfort at both lower and higher speeds. However, the biggest difference is, in our opinion, going to be the large infotainment screen. With the 2025 model year, we'll be seeing the appearance of a 10-inch touchscreen on higher trim levels, replacing the smaller 8-inch one, and finally covering up that infuriating hole on the side. An updated exterior design. The Ford Maverick wasn't an ugly truck to begin with. It wasn't a particularly good-looking thing either. It was just very generic-looking, which certainly wasn't helped by the fact that Mavericks have been flooding the US streets, making the already bland-looking truck even more dull. Thankfully, the 2025 model year sets out to fix this issue and make the Maverick much more streamlined with its larger brethren in terms of styling. The biggest difference you'll notice is the front of the truck, which now boasts a fascia that is very reminiscent of the Ranger and the F-150, especially thanks to the addition of their trademark C-shaped headlights. Furthermore, the grille of the 2025 model year has also been enlarged, making the car look bolder and more menacing, something that the Maverick desperately needed. Furthermore, the side profile of the Maverick is now much less boring, thanks to the added creasing of the body panels, making the car look much more athletic than the outgoing model. The taillights have also been swapped for a more modern design, and the higher trim levels also get full LED ones, which are very reminiscent of the F-150 Lariat's backlights. With this design update, the Maverick is sure to leave some people dead in their tracks at how good looking it is. However, the creme de la creme of the 2025 model year is the fact that it will also introduce the performance version of the Maverick. However, unlike its larger siblings, this version of the Maverick will not carry the Raptor namesake. So, what will it be then? Say hello to the Ford Maverick Lobo. Back in November of 2023, a bunch of spy shots of the Maverick Lobo appeared, with its front and rear fascia hidden. However, a lot has still been shown, and the most exciting part of the entire truck was the fact that we saw large wheels with performance-oriented low-profile tires. This meant that the Ford Maverick Lobo was, essentially, going to be a complete antithesis to the Raptor, serving as a performance-oriented street truck instead of an off-road one. And frankly, that makes quite a lot of sense to us. The Maverick Lobo is said to have stiffened suspension that will allow it to retain composure in the bends, while its ride height will be lowered to make the truck's center of gravity lower than it is. The power plant of the Maverick Lobo is expected to be lifted straight from the new Mustang. The engine in question is a 2.3-liter EcoBoost Turbo 4, pushing out some odd 315 horsepower, allowing the Maverick Lobo a 0 to 60 time of under 5 seconds. Furthermore, all Maverick Lobos are expected to come with AWD as standard, further improving their traction and drivability. The interior is also expected to go through some cosmetic changes compared to the regular Maverick. This includes more aggressive bucket seats, as well as a sporty wheel and other accents that highlight the truck's performance nature. However, all of these changes will come at a price, which is why it's high time for us to discuss pricing and trim levels. Because the Maverick will be receiving a bunch of quality updates, you wouldn't be at fault for expecting the price of the truck will rise for the 2025 model year. However, despite the improvements, the new Maverick will retain the same prices all across the range. How, you might ask? Well, simple. The aforementioned production output increase allowed Ford to stuff the facelifted Maverick with additional features and equipment without impeding its low price tag. As a result, you can expect the Maverick XL to start at a low $24,000, which is pretty good. Granted, you still won't be getting a lot with it. However, an increase in quality and reliability, as well as a redesigned exterior, are enough improvements for us, as the XL already offers just enough stuff to be a serviceable daily driver. The XLT will, however, receive a bunch of stuff, including LED headlights and taillights, and improved interior comfort, as well as an expanded choice of colors. Nothing jaw-dropping, however, a solid functional improvement over the previous model, with prices expected to start at the high $26,000 range. The Lariat will be a massive step forward compared to the outgoing model though. Better profiled seats, improved interior quality, a 10-inch display, as well as an expanded choice of colors and wheels are only a few of the things it'll be getting. Not to mention that the exterior design will also be top-notch, and all that for a price of around $35,000. Finally, the newly announced Maverick Lobo will be exponentially more expensive than the Lariat, courtesy of its powertrain, suspension, and bespoke interior. We expect it to cost somewhere in the low to mid $40,000 range, which, albeit a lot of money, is quite reasonable for such a powerful and fun, yet practical and well-equipped vehicle.